What's up, fight fans? Welcome to the UFC 217 post-fight show. My name is Flyin Brian J. Thank you so very much for joining me. Below me here, I want you to tell me what letter grade you would give this whole card, top to bottom, A to F. Let me get it out of the way right now. I would give the post-fight letter grade an A, an absolute A+, A++++. Holy shit, what an evening. How many times in the history of the UFC have we had a fight card where we had 3 title fights, and in every single one of those 3 title fights, we had to hear and knew from Bruce Buffer when the thing was over. GSP defeated Michael the Count Bisping in the 3rd round via rear naked choke after dropping him with a left hook. TJ Dillashaw knocked out Cody Garbrandt with a right hook. Thug Rose Namajunas dropped Joanna Jacek with an overhand right. She got back up, and then she finished her with a left hook and then some ground and pound. And actually, Joanna Jacek submitted. She tapped out due to strikes. It doesn't get much more of an interesting and exciting event than that. Just those 3 things alone coming in. Joanna Jacek was like minus 700 or something. Let me check the odds here. Exactly minus 700. Joanna Jacek closed at minus 700. She got finished in the first fucking round. Cody Garbrandt finished at minus 210. He got finished in the 2nd round. Michael the Count Bisping, minus 120. That's not huge, but he got finished in the 3rd round. So what I like to do a lot of the times, guys, and you know this, is that I like to give a WTF of the card. And we've got a lot of contenders for WTF of the card tonight. Number 1 being, well, like I already said, 3 title fights, 3 and new. GSP is a now former welterweight champion, and now he's the current UFC middleweight champion. So he's, in his whole life, he's been 2 division championships in the UFC. What the fuck? How the hell? Michael the Count Bisping, he dropped his cup out of his shorts in between round 2 and 3. What the fuck? If we were to look way back at the beginning of the card, we'll get to the other WTFs in a while. Let me get to you guys. This was an exciting event, and I want to really talk to you guys. Rory Ireland asks, did Joanna Jacek tap or did McCarthy tap her? If you were watching the fights, you could see that Joanna tapped twice, and it was in... Rose could see Joanna's hand. And as soon as Joanna tapped, Thug Rose stopped immediately. She didn't wait. She didn't hit her with another single strike. She just stopped right then. Amazing, right? So that was great sportsmanship by Thug Rose Namajunas. Whew. Marcus Zachary, he loves underdogs, don't we all? Greg Narva, money card. This fucking thing, I can't believe it. My girlfriend is here, my fiance, and she's got a friend over tonight, and I don't know, there was multiple times where I yelled out goofy shit, and her friend, it was probably like, that guy is a goofy motherfucker. He's just in there cursing and screaming to himself, because I listen to the fight cards with headphones, and so when something crazy happens, it was like, hoo, 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 sha, what the heck just happened there? Incredible. Michael Hartley, such a great card. Christopher Abraham. Anyone else having the stream freeze constantly? Oh, probably Christopher. This is actually, since you brought it up, this is like the 8th time I've tried to get this stream going. Facebook changed how they do streams, and yeah. Martin Poole, unreal card. Gary Crowther says GSP versus McGregor now. That's what we're going to talk about. Yeah, it keeps freezing. I don't know what to do about it, guys. Everything we're going to try to soldier on. There's more internet being used in my apartment tonight than usual. That's the thing. Trey Stone, love GSP, always been my fave, but if he stays at 185, need to drop some muscle and work cardio. All right, I want to get back to the question about GSP versus Conor McGregor. It's certainly possible that that is next. If that is next, I don't think it'll be for the middleweight championship. But what's crazy is in the octagon after the fight was over, after GSP had won, and I'm not a big GSP fan, but man, his humility was really kind of winning me over a little bit there. He said Michael's a great fighter. He's always respected him. He's a workhorse and everything. Ricardo Salazar, no, who said it? Dan Collins. This is a next possibility. Mookie Alexander tweeted this from BloodyElbow.com. If Anderson Silva were to somehow defeat Kelvin Gastelum, what do you think is going to be the next UFC middleweight title fight? Fucking Anderson Silva versus George Rush St. Pierre. And as much as I love Anderson Silva, as you can tell by my poster back here, that's not the fight that I want to see, guys. I want to see, like, the legitimate best middleweight fighter in the world. Whoever that is, whoever that happens to be. I honestly, right now, I don't believe that that is George St. Pierre. I believe that it is Robert Whittaker. I think that GSP would probably lose to Yoel Romero. I think that GSP would probably lose to Luke Rockhold. And definitely Robert Whittaker. So I don't want to see GSP versus Anderson for the belt, but then I would see the fight, I guess. If we were to watch McGregor versus GSP, I don't think that it should be for the middleweight belt because, man, GSP in the post-fight again, he was saying that he was the smaller guy in there, and he wanted to show people that it's not about who has the biggest nuts, it's who has the most technique and the most ability and who's the smarter fighter in the octagon. And dude, he looked fucking huge. He's only like 2.5 inches shorter than Bisping, and he looked really, really filled out. Chuck Noble. I also said Bisping would beat. I know what you meant, Chuck. Would beat GSP. Guys, so what I'm required by MMA Mania to do is a preview prediction video for every main event and for every title fight. So I had to do 3 prediction videos this week. It's kind of stressful for me. I had to do a beer pairing video, those 3 videos. But anyway, in every single one of my videos, I picked and fucking still. And all 3 times and knew. So I'm like Michael Bisping, hey buddy, GSP, he was the better man tonight. He got the best of me. This card got the best of me. I'm not going to say that I didn't do poorly on my picks. Now let me defend myself a little bit. If we could scoot down and talk about Rose versus Ioana and Jacek real fast, where Thug Rose won and the first round at 303. TKO punches is what Wikipedia says, but I believe it was tap out due to strikes. Anyway, in my breakdown video, I said that am I freezing? What the fuck's happening? I think my computer's freezing. I'll just keep talking and hopefully it'll remedy itself. I said that Ioana, she throws that jab out, and even Joe Rogan was pimping it or pumping it. Oh, Ioana's got such a great jab. She's got maybe the greatest jab in MMA, but she does it so often. And if you were to watch Rose versus Watterson, when Watterson throws out a lazy jab, Rose counters with an overhand right over the top of it and hurts Michelle Watterson. And I said that could be one thing that she could get that would hurt Ioana Jędrzejczyk because she's got that really fast, really powerful overhand right. Bam, happened. That's the first time she dropped Ioana Jędrzejczyk. Then, also in my video, I said that she's got a really powerful left hook. If her opponent throws a lazy kick at her, she'll swim in there with a left hook and knock him out. Not knock him out because this is her first time she's ever got a finished victory. But anyway, so the first time Rose dropped Ioana, overhand right. When she dropped her to get the finish, a left hook. So even though I went 0-3 in my prediction videos, I'm just patting myself on the back a little bit because, you know, I got that series of events correct. Chuck Noble, why doubt GSP when you know yourself Bisping didn't even belong there and only got their lucky shot? You're freezing, but we can hear you. All right, yeah, dude, I don't know what the hell's going on. I might need to clear some space on my computer. Sorry that this is happening on the biggest card ever. Now, Ricardo Salazar says Rose versus Claudia Gadelha. No. What's next for Rose has to be Jessica Bate-Estaca Andrade. The reason being is Jessica Andrade only has 1 loss in this weight class. It was against Ioana Jędrzejczyk, and Jessica Andrade just put another destruction, utter destruction on Claudia Gadelha. So yeah, what's next for Thug Rose has to be Jessica Andrade. Let me get to one more of my WTFs of the card. I swear, guys, I'll get right back to your comments. Another contender for WTF of the card was after Thug Rose got the belt draped over her shoulder by Dana White, and Joe Rogan came out and was... And also, I'm annoyed that my poll isn't working. That annoys me as well. Anyway, when Joe was talking to Rose, she said he asked her how it feels to be the champion, and she said it feels normal. I feel like a normal person. You know, I'm nothing special. Like, what the F? That's so humble. She also said that winning the belt was nothing. She said winning championships and fighting is not important. Being a good person is important. Just be a good person. Be good people. She said that. She looked into the camera. And I was like, damn, Thug Rose, what the F? That's awesome. And I know I'm not conveying my emotions right now with but I almost cried a little bit. You know, you get emotionally involved in these fights and you know, it's just heart-wrenching. You got that, like, heart pump. Your chest is all tight while it's happening. Then the finish happens, and your eyes light up, and you feel a little tingle on your back, and it's, like, so fun. And then Rose just brings you back down with her humility and everything, like an emotional roller coaster ride. I think that would draw tears out in anybody. Christopher Abraham, I think JJ deserves an immediate rematch. Honestly, she cleaned out that division. I don't like the term cleaned out, because quite obviously she didn't clean it out, because she just got, you know, mollywopped, and I'm not really interested in immediate rematches. Roger Dartes, he just gives me some dots. What are you asking down there, buddy? Joanna has looking more beatable her last few fights. Well, what I said to somebody who said, I just asked the question on social media, does Thug Rose have a chance? And that person said that Rose has absolutely zero chance. Joanna's gonna destroy her. And I said, well, Joanna didn't even destroy Valerie Letourneau. And, you know, Valerie Letourneau isn't even in the UFC anymore. I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but she got knocked the fuck out. No immediate rematch. That's Jay Richardson. I agree, man. David Lozano, what a fun night. When was the last time one card shook up the whole organization like this? Never, man. Andrew the Clown Kid and I were talking about it before the fight card started, that, like, this card is good enough that, you know, you don't even need Conor McGregor. There's cards, like, okay, that's not what I meant. Conor McGregor cards are always stacked. They always put, like, a lot of fighters on, let me put this over here. They always put a lot of good fighters on Conor McGregor's cards. You know, they always stack them up because they want other fighters, you know, like Robbie Lawler, to get that shine from Conor McGregor. And this card was as good as a Conor McGregor card. Clinton Loughran, the best card in years. I don't know what could have made this card better. Look at this entire thing. There were 11 fights in the card. We lost one. Ian Cutelaba versus I forget who. Fucking don't even care. Gadzimir Antagulov. I don't know if that's true either. Anyway, 2 decisions. 11 fights, 2 decisions. And one of those decisions was Stephen Thompson over Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. And Wonder Boy put on a fucking karate clinic in there. It was fun to watch. At times I was, like, not that entertained. But one of the reasons why I was not that entertained at times is because the rest of the card was absolutely batshit crazy bonkers. Fucking nuts. The other decision, Randy Brown versus Mickey Gall, I mean, there were 3 10-8 rounds, basically. I mean, not exactly, but, like, whoever won that round, like, destroyed that round. And that was kind of fun to watch as well. Chris Rush, you're high. I'm not high. Jay Byford Adams, fuck Connor. This card destroyed any card he's ever been on. Lawler versus Thompson, please. Sean Brunix, Woodley versus GSP. Thoughts on how that would play out? Taking back the welterweight division. That's interesting, Sean. And honestly, I think that would be a conversation for another day. I'm sorry, I don't want to say your question doesn't have merit and that it doesn't deserve to be answered, but my brain isn't, like, thinking about that right now because of the possible matchups for GSP next. I think that Stephen Thompson is highly unlikely for GSP next. Clinton Loughran, now I'd like to see Woodley lose his belt. I mean, look at all the options we got for GSP that could really be there. You give Woodley GSP. You give GSP to Conor McGregor at 170 pounds. You do Whitaker obviously fighting GSP. You have the possibility of Anderson Silva facing GSP. Just so much James Mallon. Mary. Michael Schaefer, very surprising fight. So glad Mary won too. I don't know who Mary is. Do you mean Rose? Dylan Haddock, GSP versus Woodley. Anderson, Woodley, Connor. Chris Rush, laughing. I don't know what Chris Rush is up to. What's this guy doing? Oh, Jay Beeford is. Byford. And Whitaker. Connor should simply defend. All right, guys, we're getting a little bit derailed. Let's talk for a second about the co-main event. TJ Dillashaw, Cody No Love Garbrandt came out. It was basically what we thought it would be. TJ Dillashaw had like the better footwork, the better movement, but every time like he came in close, it seemed like Cody would scare him off a little bit with like his heavy, super quick, like left hook counters and wide rights. At the very end of the round, I believe it was a wide right from Cody Garbrandt that dropped TJ Dillashaw. And at that moment, I thought Cody has this fight locked up. He dropped him. He's going to get it. Beginning of the second round came out, and I was trying to tweet. I was in charge of MMA Mania's Twitter tonight. And I'm looking down, and they say head kick. And fucking left high kick. It's TJ Dillashaw's like best kick. Was it left? I saw a picture of it. It must have been a... It was probably a right high kick. Anywho, no, it was a right hook that ended up dropping him. Okay, yeah, left hook wobbled him, square in the face, and it wobbled him. His eyes roll back, and you can see in the picture his face is all smushed. And then, like seconds later, TJ hit him with a wide right on the jaw, fucking dropped him, and then put him out cold with ground and pound. And then Cody woke back up and TJ like screamed in his face, and I thought, oh fuck, we're gonna have a fight after a fight. Then some random guy ran up to the cage, I guess it was a corner man for TJ, and was trying to jump over the cage and was gonna try to fight Cody in the octagon after Cody had already got knocked out by TJ Dillashaw. What a wild and crazy exchange of events. Afterward, TJ was humble and he said that Cody will be back, that he will probably fight him again, and I believe that's probably true. So he was really humble, and that was awesome. The storyline continues. We'll probably see a rematch with those guys in the future. And who isn't going to love to see that when it happens, because I feel like it could go either way anytime the fight happens. And then afterward, in the post-fight interview, TJ said, I'm coming for Demetrius Johnson. I'm dropping down to 125 pounds, and I'm stopping his bullshit title defense record. And I'm like, fuck yes. Book that shit right now. Write it down. That has to happen. If TJ can make 125 pounds, then yeah, that is exactly what I want next. And then no matter what happens with that fight, then I would like to see TJ versus Dominic again. If Dominic, let's give Dominic one more person in the meantime, right? Or no? Did Dominic? Anyway, and then I want TJ versus Cody again. And there's just so much happening that we could... Dominic Cruz. Did he lose last to Jimmy Rivera? Was that... Cody Garbrandt. No, okay, so yeah. I want to see TJ versus DJ, and then I want to see TJ versus Dominic, and then I want to see TJ versus Cody No Love again. Yeah, he's fighting Rivera. Okay, he's booked versus Rivera. Okay, so the winner of Dominic versus Rivera, Cruz versus Rivera, is what I would think would be next for TJ after TJ fights DJ, Demetrius Johnson. And then Cody can get another shot. Wow, what an exciting time for the bantamweight division. Has the bantamweight division ever been this exciting? Not in my recollection. Not in my recollection. It's going to be a hard cut. Fred Carignan? Yeah, probably. But TJ is 2 inches shorter than Cody. And maybe he could. I don't know. Yeah, if TJ was done in the first round. What a turnaround. Thanks for reminding me, Fred. After Cody dropped him, he was wobbly and looked like he was having trouble getting back to his corner. And he was like, you could see he was dejected on his face and was like on wobbly legs. Looked like he was on a boat that was rocking him back and forth. And then he comes back and like fucking 2 minutes later gets a victory. Wow. Nuts. Richard Misner, what do I got in the glass? What is this? This is Easy Street by Odell Brewing out of, I think it's Fort Collins, Colorado. It's a wheat beer. Do a Cody versus Dominic rematch, then the winner faces TJ. No, because Cody dominated Dominic. I don't want to see that again. Like, and the timeline wouldn't match up, in my opinion, for what would happen, Chris, because like Dominic's got Rivera, and then if he wins that, then like his next fight could be TJ. If Flyin Brian crying, I cry once in a while. Jay Richardson, what'd you say? I think. Oh, wow! I think we're all doing this. We're coming down a little bit from this incredible night of fights. Jessica Payne, Thug Rose versus Andrade. Yes, that is true. What's next for Joanna Jędrzejczyk? Great fucking question, Lucas. Let's just I didn't think about that. Will Kyron Payton asks, will Bisping retire? That's something we need to talk about in the main event too. We're bouncing all over the place. We have no real structure here. In the Octagon, Joe Rogan did a post-fight interview with Michael Bisping. Even though Michael Bisping was choked unconscious, and Joe said he doesn't like to do interviews with knocked out fighters, which he didn't lose by knockout or TKO. He did get dropped with a dynamite left hook. We didn't mention that. GSP said in his post-fight interview he was attacking the right side of, to his right it'd be Michael's left side, because he knew that he was kind of blind on that side, or like it would get his attention over there, and he wasn't good at defending the other side, the left side. So he went over there a few times. He went there with kind of a right, and then he came up top with a left hook that dropped him. And I was surprised that Joe did a post-fight interview with him, because he was dropped so severely, and then he was literally choked unconscious. Why would Joe do that? I believe the reason why Joe did that was he thought that Michael Bisping was going to retire in the Octagon right then and there. And for a second, it sounded like Michael was going to do that. Michael thought he was going to do that as well. He said he's had a great run. He's had a great career. He's had a lot of fun. He thanked like each and every individual member of his team, and it sounded like he was about to say, "This is my last one, guys. I'm done. I retire. Thanks so much." And then all of a sudden he said, "But I'm not done, buddy. I'll be back." And it's like, okie doke. So Mike's probably going to fight one more time and then retire. And what I would like for him next is to finish the trifecta with Luke Rockhold. Perhaps there are other matchups for Michael Bisping that would be tasty. Like, I would also love to see Michael Bisping versus Yoel, the Soldier of God, Romero. And I almost, either Romero or Rockhold next, and then probably retire from Michael Bisping. Anyway, the question was, what is next for Joanna Jędrzejczyk? Let's see. Let's check out the strawweight rankings. She's already defeated Jessica Andrade, Claudia Gadelha, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, and she just got beat by Tisha Torres. I don't know. This is tough. What do you do next? Losing in that way, you should at least take 8 months off. I'd like to say take a year off from competition. I honestly would like to see Joanna get like a rebound fight a little bit, and the rebound fight could be somebody like Michelle Watterson. I think that was a winnable fight for Joanna. That could get her back to the top of the title picture. And if not, it's a high-profile fight because Michelle Watterson gets a lot of attention. Joanna gets a lot of attention. That could easily headline a fight night card somewhere down the road. And right, Christopher. Okay, good point. Yeah, as I said, she pretty much cleaned out the division. Who's in the division? Right, yeah. I mean, we're talking about Joanna possibly fighting Tisha Torres, Michelle Watterson, Cynthia Calvillo, or Felice Herrig. Yikes. Ricardo Salazar, so this means Ronda's record stays as the birth of women's MMA history. What's my prediction for GSP versus Whitaker? Whitaker via second round knockout. Third round knockout. All as impressive as GSP was tonight, finishing Michael Bisping, he got fucking really tired and slow in like the second round. And that's not good, man. And Robert Whitaker, who's like what? 10 years younger than GSP, hits way harder than Michael Bisping, has fucking incredible takedown defense. Yeah, I think that GSP would lose in the second round to Robert Whittaker. But, I mean, I guess we'll see it. Who said... Somebody said, yeah, Yoel versus Bisping would be a great fight for Bisping to end his career on, win or lose. Yeah. And it's a winnable fight for Michael. I would not pick him to win, but it's winnable because he has great cardio and Yoel has no cardio. Well, here's something interesting. Neil Two-Tap Siri, who is an Irish fighter, was a flyweight fighter in the UFC, tweeted that Croke Park, GSP versus the notorious Conor McGregor. Anyway, Lucas had a good question, I think. Whittaker first round KO. Jay Byford says that. Byford Adams, sorry for the hyphen. Hendricks should retire. We'll get to that in a second. Adam Wells, this is it's Easy Street. It's a wheat beer by Odell Brewing out of, I believe it is Fort Collins, Colorado. Potential Antonio Bacalso, potential super fight between Anderson the Spider Silva and George St. Pierre. Been waiting for that fight for years. As you can tell, I'm a huge Anderson Silva fan because of that, but I want that man to retire. He does not look as good in 2017 as GSP does, and I feel like GSP would easily beat Anderson Silva in 2017, as much as I hate to say it. Justin Davis just tuned in, says he'd give the card an A. Thanks for joining me, buddy. Yeah, definitely an A. Let's move on in the card. Stephen Thompson versus Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. Stephen did some amazing things. Masvidal was really, really struggling to close the distance, to corral Stephen at all. Stephen would circle to either direction. He would circle to like his right, let's say, and as soon as George was like, or Jorge would be like, fuck it, I have to attack him. He can't just circle forever. Stephen would circle the other direction and like hit him with a lead leg stepping sidekick as he like decided to change directions. And that fucking he did that a whole bunch of times. Stephen put some pretty decent damage on Masvidal, but no way in hell did Wonderboy do enough for me to want Wonderboy to get another crack at the title if the title holder is Tyron the Chosen One Woodley. If GSP fights Woodley, somehow gets the belt back, the fucking welterweight belt, and then we really have to talk about GSP being the greatest fighter in the history of fucking the world, then Stephen can get another shot at the title. But I don't want to see Stephen Thompson versus Tyron Woodley again. That was a horrible, horrible fight the last time they did it, and I don't think that I want to see that again. And the way that GSP looked tonight, I mean, GSP would beat Damian Maia. GSP would, who's undefeated? Rory? These guys are eating their words now. Assuming Woodley doesn't fight GSP, who do you want to see Woodley fight next? Man, I was really hoping... Great question, Austin. Thanks for hanging out, man. What I was thinking... One reason I picked Masvidal tonight was, one, he was going to pay good money if he won. But also, like, we need a fresh contender. And I thought if he were able to knock out Stephen Thompson, we could give Masvidal a title shot against Tyron Woodley. But obviously that's not going to happen. And, I mean, it's going to be Colby Covington, isn't it? If it's not GSP, it's going to be Colby Covington against Tyron Woodley. And Tyron Woodley's going to knock him out. Because Covington was getting pieced up on the feet by Damian Maia. He's not going to be able to wrestle Woodley. But I guess Colby Covington versus Tyron Woodley. At least perhaps then Woodley will have an exciting title fight because he should be able to knock out Colby Covington. Was I drinking through the fights? What kind of question is that? Yep. Jay Byford, that's what, yeah. Colby. Lawler or RDA. I don't think Lawler needs another shot at Tyron Woodley right now because he got fucking smashed in like 45 seconds. Not that long ago, right? And who has Lawler fought since then? Donald Cerrone. Yeah, nope, don't want to see that. RDA. Who does RDA got next? And yeah, RDA has Lawler. Okay, sorry, Austin. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if RDA wins that fight, it could be RDA, but definitely not Lawler because he just got smashed in, nothing. Bisping versus Masvidal. That's funny, Marcus. Maybe that's was brilliant by Masvidal to set that up. But Masvidal looked small against Stephen Thompson. And while Bisping didn't look huge against GSP, it's funny to talk about. But isn't Condit retiring? He might be a good matchup for Tyron. Carlos Condit is going to fight Neil Magny. So, I don't know. Man, Condit doesn't have very good takedown defense. Tyron would smash him again. I don't need to see it. No, not Wonder Boy. It's too boring. So let's move on. Paulo Borrachina versus Johnny Big Rig Hendricks. Paulo Costa got the TKO victory at 123 of round number 2. Johnny Hendricks showed that he is one tough motherfucker. He has got a chin on him. Paulo was putting some heavy leather on Johnny Hendricks' face and body. I don't know how Johnny survived the first round. It seemed like Paulo was getting a little bit tired toward the end of the first round, and Johnny was able to land a few good left hands on him. Second round came out. Shane Hyde, we can't talk about illegal streams, man. And the fights are over, bro. Next fight for Darren Till. Yeah, I was thinking about him potentially fighting Darren Till versus Stephen Thompson. Done. Do it. Book that shit right now. I'm going to tweet that even. Right? That's amazing. I just made that up. I mean, people have been talking about it, but yeah, Darren Till versus Stephen Thompson. That has to be next. And if Darren Till gets past Stephen Thompson, then Darren Till gets the title shot. Man, it's fun talking about the future of mixed martial arts. Let's talk about the card. Okay, Paulo Costa, yeah, he just fucking put a drubbing on Johnny Hendricks. Was hitting him to the body, very intelligent striking. The guy hits like a truck. It seemed like the stoppage was a little bit early because Johnny was still had his wits about him. But, I like the stoppage. It saved him from damage. What's next for Johnny Hendricks? People say Bellator. I think he should retire. Maybe Bellator. But look at the washed up, not necessarily washed up, but the guys that the UFC discards, they're not doing that good in Bellator even. So the high level skill in Bellator's upper echelon is better than the lower tier of the UFC. That's just the truth. So if they take Johnny Hendricks, they're going to throw him in there with somebody like Alexander Shlemenko, and he's going to fucking destroy Johnny Hendricks. And why do you want to see that? I mean, the guy's, he's reached the pinnacle of the sport. He was the champion. He's a long-time competitor. It just doesn't seem like he has it anymore. He's going to compete still, but I don't care to watch him fight again. Chris Oland asks about Mickey Gall losing. Am I surprised? Not at all. I picked Randy Brown to win. I'm not surprised Mickey Gall lost because Mickey Gall's level of competition, he fought two guys that were 0-0 when he fought them and he beat them. And then he fought a guy that has literally no ground skills at all in Sage Northcutt. So Mickey had not fought a UFC caliber opponent yet in the UFC. He just got a lot of shine because he beat CM Punk. Big fucking deal. 40-something-year-old CM Punk was 0-0 mixed martial artist. Randy Brown has real fight experience. Belal Muhammad, Brian Camozzi, Michael Graves, Matt Dwyer, Eric Montano. Did I say Belal Muhammad? Yeah. So I was not surprised at all. 0% surprised. Christopher Abraham. Well, he can juice in Bellator and get all of his KO power back. Yeah. Oh, Mitch Rion. He's doing good there too. But so the UFC. Good point, Rory. I should touch on this. The UFC's heavyweight division is shallow. The Bellator heavyweight division is non-existent. There's that. Man, I look extra ugly today. Anywho, let's keep trucking on this fight card. James Vick defeated Joseph Duffy TKO punches at the very end of round number 2. I thought it was a terrible stoppage. Joseph was defending himself on the ground. He was re-guarding, and the ref stepped in I mean, he was getting pieced up by Vic in the second round, but when there's 1 second to go in the round and the guy's re-guarding, why stop the fight? James Vick looked good. James Vick is now 8-1 in the UFC, and he's a fucking giant lightweight. What's next for him? He asked for a ranked opponent, and yeah, he lost to Benyil Dariush. Like, that's his one loss. You could give him somebody like Francisco Massaranduba Trinaldo. That'd be fine. Vic versus Chiesa would be a lot of fun because have they fought? Certainly not. I think Vic versus Chiesa would be fun. Let's do that. Let's do James Vick versus Michael Chiesa or James Vick versus Francisco Trinaldo. The timing would work well for Trinaldo versus Vic. Let's do that. How about the back and forth between Corey Anderson and OSP? We're skipping some fights. Vince St. Preux versus Corey Anderson was an incredible fight. The first round, man, I took notes on this. Basically, Corey Anderson was wrestling Vince St. Preux for a bit there in the first round. Vince was, they were standing and trading. Then Vince landed one left straight on Corey Anderson that snapped his head back, and Corey's like, "Fuck this," turning into wrestling mode, and he was controlling Vince from there on. Then the third round comes out, and Vince said he was finding his timing, and he had hurt Corey with a couple of punches, and then he threw that left high kick that he's known for, and just fucking flatlined him. Just took his soul right out of his body, laid him on the canvas just clean out. That was a really fun fight, back and forth. I was surprised that Corey Anderson did as well in the striking early as he did. I'm not surprised, but it's like OSP, he does not have very good technique in his get-up game. He just I'm going to get up now. He's like Derek the Black Beast Lewis. Corey Anderson takes him down, and he's just like, well, I'm going to stand up. There's no, swimming for underhooks and switching to face him or whatever, getting your back to the cage and get up. And he's just like, nope, I'm going to stand up right freaking now. And he did it. Corey Anderson, I mean, that kick that Vince hit Corey Anderson with would probably flatline a lot of people, a lot of fighters. But Corey Anderson does not have a very good chin. And in the light heavyweight division where everyone hits hard, Corey's going nowhere. What's next for Corey Anderson? They should rebook him versus Patrick Cummings. Both guys are wrestlers. Both guys have shitty chins. What's next for Vince St. Preux? He was scheduled to fight Mauricio Shogun Rua in a rematch. That's not happening. Vince called for Ilir Latifi at the end of this year in Vegas, which is, let me look, December 30th at UFC 219. He called for Ilir Latifi at UFC 219. I say fucking do that. Ilir has a better chin than Corey Anderson, and Ilir has as good of wrestling as Corey Anderson. So I like the matchup. It's fun for me stylistically, and Vince is really trying to put a lot of work in at the end of this year here, trying to get really, really paid. So that's what I think should be next. Damien Bouret asks, what's next for TJ? I think he should fight Mighty Mouse, absolutely. And if he doesn't fight Mighty Mouse, Dominic Cruz, you're right. Both answers that you answered your own question, man. Good work. No, that's what I think should be next. Absolutely. TJ versus Demetrius Johnson. Demetrius was live and cage side tonight. That'd be an absolutely fun fight to watch. I think I might favor TJ Dillashaw. He has the size, he has the power advantage, I think. But man, depleting himself that much to go down to 125 pounds, that adds a whole wrinkle into the game. But yeah, that's what I want to see. Absolutely. TJ versus DJ, super fucking fun. And then a rematch with Dominic Cruz, unless Dominic Cruz loses to Jimmy Rivera, and then a rematch versus Cody. But that's planning a year in advance. And look what happened tonight. We had 3 title holders lose their belts on one night. We had an absolutely bonkers fucking evening of fights. So to plan even more than just one fight ahead is, irresponsible by me. But, just speculating and everything. Do I think there's a reason Vic has not fought a ranked fighter? Well, didn't he fight? He fought Benyil Dariush. Was Benny not ranked at that time? And my bet for why not is because he got knocked out by Benyil Dariush. That's my entire reasoning. And then lightweight, while Vic is a really talented guy and he's 8-1 in the UFC, the lightweight division is fucking stacked, man. Conor McGregor, Tony Ferguson, Habib, Edson, Eddie, Gaethje, Nate Diaz, Kevin Lee, Dustin Poirier, Michael Johnson. I mean, you know what? Michael Johnson might be a good matchup for James Vick. But, like, that is fucking killers. All those, that's a high level of competition. So to crack the top 15 is a pretty tough thing to do. Devin Dixon asks, do I think Joanna deserves a rematch? No. Not immediately. Maybe if she defeats somebody like the karate hottie Michelle Watterson, and then she can get a rematch. But like an immediate rematch, sorry, ma'am, you don't deserve it. I think Jessica Andrade is the next to get a title shot. Scott Poppleton, will DJ take the fight? Yeah, man, he has to, doesn't he? Maybe. Yeah. Now that TJ has the belt, like, you call that shit a super fight, and that should be able to sell a few more thousand pay-per-view buys and give them both a little bit of money. Damien Bourret, do you think GSP fights Woodley at middleweight, and if so, who wins? I don't think that he does. In the post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, GSP said that he felt like he's the smaller guy tonight, and 170 is his real weight class. And he never said anything about defending the belt. Like, Joe Rogan's like, hey, are you going to defend the belt, man? And he's like, well, 170 is my real weight class. It's like, gosh, darn it. And I think what GSP is alluding to is that he's got money fights on the line. And I don't think Tyron Woodley's the money fight. And if they do fight, I'd like it to be at 170. And I think Tyron Woodley wins. I would pick Tyron Woodley to beat GSP, and no matter what weight class it was at, I think. Do I think McGregor belongs in the lightweight division? How does he stack up against Ferguson? Absolutely, he belongs in the lightweight division. He looked terrible at 145 pounds, like on the scale, and looked so emaciated. And he had a lot of trouble cutting there the last time he was at 145 pounds, because that was like the only time he had to cut there without the use of an IV. How does he stack up against Tony Ferguson? I think I might pick Conor McGregor to knock Tony Ferguson out. The reason being is Ferguson is really, really hittable. And he fights with his hands at his hip, and he just kind of dives in there at things. And he got hurt badly against... Kevin Lee hurt him pretty badly. He got hurt against... Fuck, that guy. The smooth guy. Anywho, yeah. I think it's a good matchup because Tony could be able to get the takedown, and he should be able to beat Conor when the fight hits the mat. But Tony's so hittable, and he gets like stiff-kneed with lighter shots than what Conor McGregor packs in that left hand. If you gave Conor a long camp to prepare for him, I think that Conor might be able to knock Tony Ferguson out. But Lando Groovy Venata. Thanks, Austin. Rory Ireland asks, who's the money fight for GSP? Well, GSP could potentially fight Conor McGregor at 170 pounds. That's potentially in the cards. GSP could potentially fight Anderson Silva for the middleweight belt if Anderson beats Kelvin Gastelum. Both of those are bigger draws than Tyron Woodley. Also, a fight with Robert Whittaker's probably a bigger draw than Woodley at right now. In my opinion. GSP has to be the biggest question. Will he, won't he stay? Let alone, how will he affect the middleweight division and potentially the welterweight division? Yeah. Woodley said in the post-fight show he wants to move up to 185 and fight GSP. I mean, I guess that's potentially a thing. I don't know, man. The current state of the UFC is so batshit bonkers because like it used to be like the contenders actually got the title fights. Now we got shit where GSP is a middleweight champion. Motherfucker had never competed in the division before today, and he's the champion all of a sudden. At least Conor McGregor, when he became the lightweight champion, he had competed in the lightweight division before. You know, it's very interesting what we got going on in the current UFC landscape. It's some weirdness. Let's finish talking about the rest of UFC 217. Not a lot to say. Oh yeah, another WTF the card was Alexei Oleinik losing TKO doctor stoppage to Curtis Blades. Curtis threw a front kick at Oleinik when he was still at his knees on the ground, and his toes grazed his ear. But because of the drubbing that Curtis Blades had already put on Oleinik in the first round, the doctor came in and said Oleinik was not fit to continue, and Curtis Blades won via TKO doctor stoppage. Then Mark Godbeer, Walt Harris kneed Godbeer to the dick. There was some argument that it might not have been illegal. It looked illegal to me. Referee tried to come in and stop it as Mark Godbeer turned away, and he's like, stop, stop, stop. He's yelling it right next to Walt Harris. Walt Harris doesn't stop, and he tries to leap in and grab Walt, and Walt throws, I believe it was a left high kick, the same kick that Ovince St. Preux had just knocked out Corey Anderson with, landed to Godbeer's face, dropped him to the ground. Because the referee had his hand on Walt Harris's shoulder, trying to stop the fight, and Walt still threw the kick, it was called over, and Mark Godbeer won via DQ. Austin Baker asked, do I think that Walt Harris should have been DQ'd? Yes. I also believe that he did it on kind of an accident. He's in the heat of the moment. He looks like he has this guy in the ropes. He's about to finish him. He's going to I'm going to finish him with this fucking kick. Here it comes. And in that moment, you can't tell that the referee's trying to stop you. I get it. I'm not going to really hate on you, Walt Harris. But that's the right call. DQ all the way. Mark Godbeer didn't seem like he was able to continue from the kick. And yeah, I think it was the right call, man. GSP versus Silva would have been a beautiful thing 8-ish years ago. Yeah, 8-ish years ago. Nolan Tudor says, all about the money now. All about it. And tonight was extremely fun, don't get me wrong. I really loved the card in the end, but I like when true contenders get the fucking true title fights. And middleweight is my favorite division, and it's just who the fuck knows what's happening right now? Robert Whittaker should be the champion, but nobody even cares about him almost, it seems, because GSP was fighting Bisping tonight. Nuts. Damien Bourret asks, Stephen Wonderboy, what's next? Darren Till or Colby, or maybe loser or winner of Lawler versus RDA? I think Stephen should fight Darren Till next. We talked about that already. I don't want to go over it again too much. Nolan Tudor says Walt Harris's adrenaline got the best of him. Yeah, it did. And I'm not hating on the guy. Sorry that happened, Walt, but that's how the rules work, man. Sorry. The DKO was definitely justified, Kevin Fernandez says. Let's talk about post-fight bonuses. We've already been talking about there were 11 fights tonight. 9 of them were finishes. Only 2 fights went to a decision. What are we going to give the post-fight bonuses? Post-fight bonus has to... We're giving out 4 post-fight bonuses. No fight of the night. I just feel man, there's so many post-fight bonuses you could give. GSP gets a post-fight bonus. TJ Dillashaw gets a post-fight bonus. Rose Namajunas gets a post-fight bonus. And the last one is tough. Ricardo Ramos gets a post-fight bonus. We haven't talked about that fight yet, and that's a nice segue to get into it right now. Ayman Zahabi was pressing forward. Ricardo Lamas had his back against the cage a little bit, and Joe Rogan was like, Ricardo looks like he's posturing his hips like he's going to spin. Ricardo's going to spin. Next, bam, Ricardo spun, spinning back elbow on Zahabi, hit him straight on the jaw. I don't know for sure, but it looked like that could break someone's fucking jaw. Bam! Zahabi out fucking cold. Took the soul right out of his body. I've said that a couple of times tonight. So my 4th post-fight bonus is going to Ricardo Ramos. But you could also give post-fight bonuses to Paulo Costa and Ovince St. Preux. But the reasons why I personally am not giving a post-fight bonus to Paulo Costa is I thought that was going to happen, and it happened. So I'm not surprised by it. I'm not impressed, really. And the reason why I'm not giving Ovince St. Preux a post-fight bonus is because Corey Anderson has, like, no chin at all. Zero chin. Negative chin. And, you know, so Jay Byford Adams says everyone gets a bonus. You get a bonus. You get a bonus. Everybody gets a bonus. Oprah's just handing out bonuses like fucking crazy. Dana White as Oprah for Halloween on. It's now November the 5th. But those are mine. Rory Ireland agrees. Ricardo Ramos, Rose, TJ, and GSP. Let me refresh my page. And see if I can get the post-fight bonuses. Where the fuck are they? Oh, post-fight bonuses. Fight of the night. None awarded. Yep. Hey, check this out. So, GSP, TJ Dillashaw, and Thug Rose all got an extra 50 grand. And then they split the other 50 grand. See, we were right on those, guys. And then Ovin St. Preux and Ricardo Ramos each split one performance bonus and got 25 grand each. Phenomenal. Great work, UFC. That's exactly what should have happened. Way to go. Way to go. Lee Watts asked, do I think Johnny Hendricks gets cut? Yes. And I think one reason why they paired him with Paulo Costa is because they kind of wanted him to get cut. Let's look at his record. Well, maybe he won't get cut. He might not get cut, guys. He was on a 3-fight losing streak. Oh, he is 1-5 in his last 6. He is 2 and 6 in his last 8. Yikes! What a fall from grace. People were just talking about how Lyoto Machida is 7-8 since Joe Rogan announced the Machida era. How about 2 and 6 in your last 8 for Johnny Big Rig Hendricks? Yeah, I think they cut him. Why keep him? Why keep him? That one win against Matt Brown way back at UFC 185, he wrestled him. Hector Lombard. Hendricks looked really good against Hector Lombard. Kevin Fernandez, I used to love Johnny Hendricks. Back when he was left-handing people into the Shadow Realm, I really enjoyed him then, man. Like this short, fat little dude with a huge left hand. I loved watching him then, but he is just falling off a cliff. I know we're talking about fights, but I want to just stop a second and thank you guys for hanging out with me. I think we've gone through the entire fight card, and we still have 48 live viewers. That's probably the most I've ever had. I know this was a big fight card and all, but I really appreciate you guys. This is awesome. It means a lot to me that you guys have been hanging out. I really appreciate you for being my co-host tonight and asking so many questions. It helps me move along with the fight card. Otherwise, I would just be... I'm monotone anyway. But I'd be more monotone than I am without your guys' help to be able to keep me in check and reel me in and kind of direct me on what things to talk about. And I know that I'm not the greatest person in the world at talking about fights. I'm no Luke Thomas or Patrick Wyman, Conor Rebush, those kind of guys. But, I'm trying to get better every time I do post-fight shows. And I appreciate you guys for your help and for sticking around. It means an ass ton. That pretty much does it for the show. Thanks, Scott Poppleton. Jimmy Ratliff, appreciate it, man. Good question, Kevin Fernandez. This is going to close out the show. How does UFC 217 rank among other cards in my recent memory? I don't know if there's been a card in my recent memory where I left just as satisfied with the card as I did today. Like at the end of John Jones versus Daniel Cormier, I was fucking ecstatic for that last fight, but Tyron Woodley versus Damian Maia kind of sucked. Cyborg Justino versus Tanya Evinger wasn't real cool. Recent memory, best card of 2017 that's what I'm going to say. I'd have to look and sink into my memory a little bit more than that, but I'm going to guess that there's going to be a lot of MMA media members talking tonight and through tomorrow, and even maybe through the next week, that might be the best card of 2017. I can't think of something that would be better. It was absolutely amazing tonight. Who doesn't love upsets? We had 3 titles change hands. You had the return of GSP while I was kind of negative about it leading into the fight card. It was pretty cool to watch him do that. And I liked GSP's post-fight interview, being really humble. And the thing that he said about, it's not about who has the biggest balls, it's about who has the best game plan, the best technique, and who has the most intelligence in the cage. That was awesome. It's just that kind of wrapped up the entire night in a little bow. The post-fight interviews were phenomenal. The fights were phenomenal. Anytime you can get 9 out of 11 fights to be finishes, that's a good fucking time. So, and I don't know, like, at the very beginning of this video, guys, there were at least 3 of you that I asked, like, what post-fight letter grade would you give this card? And there were at least 3 that, like, shift capital A plus 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 plus, and like, that's fucking awesome. Doesn't get much better than that. So we're gonna end on that high note. I'll be back next week to do. Tomorrow I'm working on my beer pairing for UFC Fight Night 120, which is headlined by Dustin Poirier versus Anthony Showtime Pettis. I'll do my preview prediction video. I'll hopefully have that out Monday or Tuesday evening, and I might be able to work out a thing where I come in and just give it chat later on this week, maybe on like Thursday. No, not Thursday evening. I believe I am busy. I've got a food pairing tasting, so maybe Wednesday night I'll be back to just do a little chat and we'll just talk a little bit. Thanks so much, guys, for hanging out. Please like my Facebook page. It's at Flyin Brian Show, or I'll just put it like in the comment section for you just in case you want to do that. And you can also follow me on Twitter if you want to do that. But that's it for the show, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you guys later on this next week. Thanks for joining me again. Namaste. Namaste.